This is a short video for Neil Harvey and the Bradford NHS about ProgrammExpress, the cloud-based portfolio and program management solution. So every client has their own instance, and you'll notice that we are applying the corporate branding, white labelling Bradford Teaching Hospitals, and we can log on to the system as an administrator, a write access user, a read only user. There are plenty of user access levels, and it takes us into a very simple home screen where we can see some demo structure. You develop the structure as you want and the programs and projects as you wish. But I'm just opening up some programs to see the projects that sit within the programs that sit within the overall portfolio. So the idea of ProgrammExpress is a very consistent way of populating project status data and then being able to produce very quick, real-time, powerful project, program and portfolio information. So very quickly, if we selected a project or a user did, they'd have a slightly different view because they'd have a filtered view on what they had write access to, but we'd expect them to go into the commentary screen where they would make latest status updates of what they've achieved last period, any successes, decisions, escalations, focus for next period, or whatever you want to configure. Move through to the planning screen. So you can see the current plan, and then you can amend dates and you can see it graphically. Move through to resourcing to be able to see who's working on this project, having a look at the overall allocations, and then maybe if you want to select a specific resource, you can then specifically see what they're working on in blue, what other projects they're working on in green, and what their availability is. So this person is slightly over allocated. And then moving through to costs, very simple template for adding cost items and what we've planned in terms of revenue and capital, what our latest forecast is, having a look at the tolerance of our forecast versus the planned, and it's showing us there that there's an overspend on this particular project. We can apply risks. There are lots of modules. I can't go through everything. It's just a flavor. You can apply logs. You can apply which are issues, actions, decisions, and very, very simple way of populating status data across a lot of projects. And if this happens at the top level, what we can then do is we can start to run reports. So we know that the data's in there and there are plenty of administrator reports to show us that. We can set up some reports, and let's take, for example, our RAG status summary. At the top level will show us high-level summary of all the projects in an Excel style format. So we'll see the projects, bit of planning data, bit of red, amber, green, and some here in terms of commentary threads and commentary updates. If we want to have a look at a Gantt chart, again, at the top level, we can now see the plan for every single project within our portfolio. We can see projects and plans, and we use the red, amber, green for whether milestones have missed or if they're forecasting to be later than expected, or if they're green means they're on track. I know specifically one of the requirements is budgeting and resourcing. So if we go into the reporting module, because we don't necessarily have that one set up, and then we can go through to costs, we can change the settings. We'll have no detail, that's one line per project. Click create, and then we can see aggregated and consolidated up from project to program and portfolio level. We can actually see now the projects sitting within the programs, and we can look at the planned with the forecast and the spend, everything aggregating up to the top level, and project managers expected to update that. Or we can go back to our home screen and we can have a look at resourcing. So let's have a look at resource usage across the portfolio. This is a very simple resource forecasting piece of output. Again, looks like something that you would normally do in Excel, but this aligns to the plan. If the plan changes, this moves with it. We can see the people, what they're working on, days available per week, and then we can see all the numbers. You can see what they're expected to work, number of days per week within a period, aggregated up and showing whether they are red, which means that they are overutilized, or you can see if they're green, maybe they're underutilized. Those are program and portfolio level reports. If we want to, we can actually produce project reports, which is more detail. So a one-page summary would look like this, a bit like plan on a page. No need for PowerPoint. And you'll see here a project with a timeline with narrative, commentary, information on a page, or maybe we want a bit more information on the project overview. Because we're running this from the top level and we've filtered it by active projects, it's producing the one pages or the project reports for every single project. So we have 25 reports here: project, commentary, plan, risks, logs, actions, issues, etc. Moving on to the next project, moving on to the next project. So very simple way of entering data into the modules, shown here as commentary, plan, resources, cost, benefit realization, impact management, risks and logs, which are issues, actions, decisions, or whatever you configure. Very simple way of entering data, very simple way of getting powerful project, program, and portfolio information. We have a dashboard. We can see at the top level, we can see by exception the projects, which ones are healthy and unhealthy, where we've got planning issues, where we've got resourcing issues. And we can run filtered reports to show what the reds are specifically from this point of view, or we can actually run the report, the dashboard summary report. We'd be able to run that at any level. So if I go down to a program, supply chain, then it shows us an amalgamation of the project data within supply chain. So that's just a very, very quick snapshot, just to demonstrate that we can have this up and running instantly. It takes about a month to configure and train in. Very simple data entry and very powerful output. And then one last thing in terms of configurations is that we can configure this to make it look very much like our own. I've used an example here in terms of I've configured something new called hospitals. Hospitals within your area, which you'll recognise, Eccles Hill, St Luke's, Westwood Park. So we can tag a project as belonging to one of those hospitals. And what that means is that we can take one of those reports that we've just run, and we could say, okay, the RAG status report, I'll group that by hospitals. So it won't produce it in the program structure, it will produce it as projects by hospital. And that's just one example of things that we can do. I know that you're about capital and estate management. So you can see here, these would be the projects by specifically hospitals. We don't have to do anything different other than make sure the configuration is correct, and then we can start to run whatever reports we want against those. That's just a very simple view of ProgrammExpress, white label for Bradford teaching hospitals, showing that we can configure, showing that we can provide very simple data entry and very powerful output. And we can also implement this in a very slick timescale because it's not overly complicated, although I will say that there is a lot of functionality in the background to make it simple, but this would be the ProgrammExpress implementation plan. From commercials through to initiating a database, which if it started 24th of May, and it would run through to the 26th of June. So 1 month to configure, load, train, set up the data and start reporting within the business. Okay, well, thank you very much for watching, and if it maybe meets the requirement, then please get in touch. But as I said on the email, no pressure. So thank you very much for watching.